Victor's confession lands like a grenade in the Newman kitchen, and the fallout is immediate and messy. He sits Nikki down with that deliberate calm of his, the same tone he uses when he's about to rearrange people's lives, and admits in his own measured way that he struck a deal for Phyllis's AI software and intends to deploy it against Arabesque. He phrases it as a business maneuver, the kind of chess move that will secure the family fortune and send a message. But Nikki hears more than numbers. She hears the moral compromise in Victor's voice. She knows Victor's instincts: protect the family empire at any cost. Still, she expects a line he won't cross, and now she's being invited, on the record in a way, to be part of that crossing. Her reaction is complicated. Anger and betrayal flicker with worry. She's proud of what Victor's built but terrified of what sleight-of-hand tactics and corporate sabotage could do to innocence, to Cain, to Jabot, to the Newman's reputation. Victor gives her only the basics, the why, that soothes immediate suspicion without exposing the darker layers of his plan, and Nikki is left to reconcile her loyalty with the gnawing sense that she's been handed a trimmed, sanitized version of the truth. While Victor explains and Nikki processes, Sharon decides she won't be a spectator. The word action sits on Sharon like a fever. She's been pushed into the role of maternal guardian, and when something smells off, she moves. She and Nick are convinced Mitch Bacall is really Matt Clark and that the man's history and present behavior are two halves of the same lie. Sitting back isn't her style, confronting is. Sharon tracks leads, presses questions, and when polite inquiry fails she escalates to direct confrontation. The scene where she goes after Mitch is tense. She's not only seeking answers for Noah's safety, she's hunting for the truth about a man who has wormed his way into a family already frayed by secrets. This isn't a clean, clever plan. It's impulsive, raw, and exactly the kind of thing that makes danger real. Mitch, cornered, becomes defensive and sly in equal measure, and their exchange crackles with the kind of menace that suggests Sharon may have made a grave miscalculation. That intensity draws unwanted attention because the men who back Mitch, or the people who benefit from silence, don't like loose ends. Sharon's bravado, meant to protect, could instead amplify the threat around Noah. Then comes Nick's discovery and it's a gut punch. He's already on edge, juggling his own relationship strains and the family's chaos, when he walks past Noah's hospital window and sees what he was never prepared to witness. His son locked in a kiss with Sienna Bacall. The image freezes him in place, not only because of the taboo and the betrayal, but because it frames a dozen unanswered questions. Noah, who should be nursing wounds and loyalties, is entangled with a married woman old enough to be his mother. Sienna, who should be standing by her husband's alibi, is caught in a lapse that could ruin marriages and careers. Nick's initial reaction is volcanic. Disbelief, outrage, a paternal need to protect mixed with the sharp sting of humiliation. He storms in, confronts them, forces explanations that sound thin and defensive. Stress, confusion, a moment of weakness, emotional proximity in a crisis. But the scene feels rehearsed, like smoke used to hide something far darker. Nick's mind starts racing through possibilities. Was this a calculated act to shift suspicion? Is Sienna covering for Mitch? Is Noah being manipulated? Each hypothesis breeds another, and suddenly everything that once looked like an accident begins to look like a setup. As these threads tighten, the ripple effects are inevitable. Victor's revelation about using AI to undermine a rival company brings legal and ethical peril. It hands Jabot and Arabesque ammunition for counterattacks and drags Phyllis back into hazardous territory. Nikki's discomfort could turn into outright opposition, forcing a marital fissure that Victor may try to mend with more obfuscation. Sharon's bold move to confront Mitch exposes her to retaliation and makes her a target. What started as maternal desperation could become a reckless beacon for anyone who wants the truth buried. And Nick's discovery doesn't just complicate Noah's personal life. It threatens every relationship connected to him, turning allies into investigators and friends into suspects. The human cost looms large. Trust erodes, old wounds reopen, and loyalties are tested in ways that will force each character to choose between self-preservation and doing the right thing. In short, what begins as a confession, a rash attempt at justice, and a blown-open secret converges into a pressure cooker. Business strategy morphs into moral crisis, vigilantism risks collateral damage, and a single shocking image may be the match that ignites every smoldering storyline. Expect fallout, fractured relationships, and the slow, messy unspooling of truths that people thought they could keep hidden.